Good morning. Well, thank you for the introduction and for the invitation. Yeah, I intend to speak Russian. And I'm hoping that this is not going to thwart anyone, all the more that we're in Moscow here. Well, I don't think that my intervention will be as engaging as this wonderful video, but the video has shown us how we're living today in this world, in the internet world. And we find it difficult to imagine ourselves without this world, even though we're trying to hide from it at times. I vow, I sometimes feel not really good in a cafe or in a restaurant, or you get together with friends, and then everyone, instead of just talking, communicating to one another, get into their gadgets, be that an iPhone or BlackBerry, an iPad, or anything else. So the communication is happening not between people who see each other, but between people who may be thousands of miles apart. And this indeed changes the whole lifestyle. And we bear full brunt of it here in Moscow, even though I can't say that it's felt as acutely across Russia. The internet has not yet become the same part of life across Russia as it has in Moscow, the capital of our country, in one of the largest cities of the world. But they said, even now, internet is playing a huge role in Russia. According to the experts, the share of the internet in the Russian economy, I mean direct contribution of the internet to the Russian economy, is about 2%, if you believe it to be part of GDP. And there are hopes that this share is going to grow to 3.5% to 4% in about 5 years from now. But one needs to work a lot to achieve that. But there are very clear indications, clear evidence saying that the impact of the internet is larger than this direct contribution of the internet into the production of products and services. And this impact, in the first place, is happening in our day-to-day lives and in politics. Let me give you a very simple example. Today, in a few hours from now, we are going to run a meeting of the Council of Trustees of the Skolkovo Foundation, a project that we started about 2 years ago. And I'll be quite frank, without the internet, Skolkovo would not have existed. Without Skolkovo, the internet would be there. But without the internet, Skolkovo wouldn't be in existence. Why so? Well, there are several reasons to this. Firstly, the initial idea was not really to create Skolkovo, but to create a park of information technologies. And this was to do, in the first place, with the application of internet technologies in different walks of life. And then this idea transformed into Skolkovo. And secondly, we wouldn't have been able to negotiate with Craig Bartley or any other participants had it not been for the internet. Well, it was enough for me to write a brief email to Craig some time ago, to which he immediately briefly responded yes, and he immediately became a co-chairman of the Skolkovo Foundation. So this speed of communication, this speed of decision making is the main thing that goes to the internet's credit all over the world, and certainly in Russia. The internet has dramatically speeded up decision making, the development and execution of policies. Today, the situation is not simple all over the world, including Russia, even though we see some growth, and we are moderately happy about that. But nevertheless, we understand that the priorities today are those spheres, those areas where there's a need to match the state-of-the-art technologies and the traditional advantages that Russia has always had. Why so? Because it would be naive to think that we could create absolutely new sectors of economy from scratch. Industries that would immediately, we would immediately become leaders, and I think that applies to any country. But what we can do, though, is to apply modern technologies, information technologies in the first place, all the capabilities of the internet to boost other areas, other spheres, and move forward. And the first such sphere is public administration, governance. So it's not really oil and gas or something else. It's government administration. If, as our president said yesterday, we implement all our plans to cover the whole country with the internet, make it so that these services are available wherever you are in the country, it's only then that we'll be able to create conditions so that every person could identify themselves over the internet, be authorized, and get any services, take part in any discussions, to work out any decisions, have an accessible feedback channel, to take part in the assessment of the authorities' activities, those organizations who provide them services. And we can do it. You don't need a lot of time for that. At most, you need 3, 4, or 5 years. It is possible, but that will bring us to a whole different level of democracy, a whole different level of depth of contact between people and the authorities. So it's going to be a whole different life. It's very important. It's what we want to do in the very near future. Same thing applies to receiving services. The internet can dramatically, radically change the situation regarding the speed of delivery for those services that do not require any physical interactions. Everything to do with direct interaction between a citizen and an official can be shifted to that area, and everybody understands that. But we have no reasons to believe that we should be lagging behind the civilization in this respect. On the contrary, we can be one of the first to do it. There's nothing in the way for us to do it. More than that, there are regions where it's being done faster than in other regions. Everybody knows about Tatarstan, and people are already starting to use these capabilities and these services. Why shouldn't we extend this experience to other regions of the country? We are already perceiving or taking these things for granted as some obvious development events. But realistically, it's a revolution in our thinking, in the methods of government administration, and this will produce impact on many walks of life. And of course, it can radically reduce corruption that today is one of the biggest challenges for this country. And I think that this role of the internet, specifically in those countries where these challenges are the biggest, is very important. In a country like Russia, the internet is an indispensable tool to get these problems solved. But also, from my point of view, for such a large country as Russia is, one can't underestimate the role of the internet in the growth and development of commercial network services of any form and shape and in every walk of life. Bringing together the internet and financial technologies, in the first place banking technologies, bringing the internet together with postal and mailing services, transport technologies. It's all obviously a priority where our economy is going to go in the coming years. And this will radically grow the accessibility of all sorts of services for the people. I should have also mentioned education, healthcare, and many other areas. So bringing the internet together with these traditional industries will give a huge boost for productivity, for speed of service delivery, and for the quality of services, so that people should have the best teachers, the best doctors available and accessible, the best logistics schemes, the best banking products, and all the other benefits that life can offer us. This will dramatically grow the mobility of people, the mobility of capital, of workforce, and all other resources that we have. Well, I'm, saying something that is that are quite universal, but I think they are specifically important for Russia, considering its size and the level of development. If in other countries the internet could give a small boost because the productivity level is quite high there, then in Russia this leap could be much bigger, and the impact may be quite larger. This is our difference, and we have to use this opportunity. Yesterday, the president said that we have to boost productivity by the factor of 1.5 to 2. So the role of the internet, the role of the information technologies in this leap is very important. Unless we do it, you can forget about these figures. It just won't happen, and we have to do it. We must do it. And the last thing I wanted to say, we are now at a crossroads, which is about choosing the way for development. This crossroads is both political and economic. The government will change in Russia in about 2 weeks from now. The president will change. Well, a whole different configuration of authorities will come into effect. But I think we're already past the point of no return. The plans that have been declared are going to be implemented. There's no reason to believe that these promises will not be met. And all those companies, investors, entrepreneurs who've been taking a close look at the Russian market as a market where all the different projects and technologies could be implemented, can be assured that these chances are not gone. They're still there. And we're prepared to continue working with everyone who are prepared to work in Russia. Google, as a company, has taken this decision for themselves, and we're very happy that it's so that it happened this way. There are a lot of other companies that have done the same, and we are going to work with all the interested partners, because we believe that these technologies are something that we need. Our market offers opportunities for these partners, and we are going also to have the benefits from these technologies. This is a priority for us. We are going to continue going this way, and we want to be an open country and are prepared to work with everyone who are prepared to work with us. We're prepared for this openness, so let's work together. Let's generate ideas, let's implement them, and the implementation of ideas that we have plenty of is perhaps the biggest challenge that we're facing in this country. But even if we're not able to find some information in the internet, and the video has shown what kind of information can be found in the internet, even if we are not able to share with someone what we feel this morning, today, or just like if I wake up in the morning and see it's raining or it's sunny, and I immediately tweet about that to all my friends. So even if we believe that the information that we've found is not correct, we still have to make it so that all these opportunities that internet is offering us should be applied with the maximum of benefit, so that we shouldn't just dive into the virtual reality that the internet provides us, which often happens, so that we shouldn't find reasons or excuses for inefficiency by saying that virtual reality is more interesting than real life. The internet is a tool rather than a purpose or a goal. And we would like everybody who are here in this room, everybody is working in Russia, to use the internet as such a tool. Rather than a way to escape reality. So I wish you good luck and exciting discussions of all the topics that we're going to discuss here at this conference. Thank you.